Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Namo Namaha, Jai Ganesha. Please visit our website at classicalyoga.org, and there's a donate button there if you'd like to help us out. And welcome to another Ganesh Chaturthi 2024, which really kicks off our Utsava or festival season. And you know, they really come one right after the other from Ganesh Chaturthi, then we go into Navaratri, and they follow the chakras, Navaratri, and then Diwali, Skanda Shashti, Sivalaya Deepam, and culminating in the winter with Mahashivaratri, and then we start the whole cycle all around again. Just like our classic yogas, we do Karma Bhakti Raja Jnana, Karma Bhakti Raja Jnana, the classic Hindu yogas. So every year, we as Hindus, every day we worship Mahaganapati, and every year we participate in this creation story, where we all know Ganesha was created off of the mud of his Mataji Parvati. And tremendous symbolism here. I mean, be careful often of taking these stories literally, like any religion. But there's great symbolic teachings here, because that's what we do. We humans, we're storytellers. We've always been storytellers. But just learn to separate, hard fact, if you will, from mythological teachings, symbolic teachings, which are really important. That's what we do. We teach through symbolism, through profound lessons of life. And this lesson that Ganesha Chaturthi reminds us of is that we all obviously are living here on Bhumi Mata, Mother Earth, because he's created off of the earth of his Mataji. That's why Ganesha is always first. So we make our clay Ganeshas. But you know the story. He was told to stand up and protect his Mataji, which is symbolic in life that when we have certain principles, truths that we hold dear, we need to stand up and protect them, no matter what. So even in the face of Mahadeva Shiva and what happened, we know the story. We won't go into it in too much depth here, but we've done it on our other podcasts and videos. He lost his head. So that's just a reminder to all of us that as we play the games of life, that sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. It's inevitable. We're not always going to win, not always going to lose. And sometimes we learn more from the losses. But if we stand up for the principles, in the end, and that may come, who knows when, maybe even in another life. If we stand up for our principles and our truths, everything will be okay in the end because he got the elephant head, which is beautifully symbolic of who we are. Just like Ganesha's form, we're animal, human, and divine. This is the form of yours and mine. Just like Ganesha, picture's worth 1,000 words. Very profound. Everybody has their symbols. So an important lesson is standing up for principles, and when you lose, ultimately, if you stand up for the truth of something, you will win in the end. But there's another really important lesson here, because in life itself, as we play the many games, that's going to be a theme today. Basically, our theme for this year for the ashram is Pade, Uddiyana, Tali or Tadiya. Pade, step, Uddiyana, up to the plate, Tali or Tadiya. Learn to play the games of life. Be a good sport. You win, you lose. But it's developing your inner character, your sportsmanship. So you're a gracious winner and a gracious loser also. And as we play these games of life, we can choose to play them in a very superficial way, if you will, or a very mild way, or a very intense way. For example, in America, the favorite game really is baseball and football. And many kids play football and baseball. But how many go to the NFL, the Major League Baseball? Many girls love to do cartwheels and flips. But how many become elite gymnasts? How many go to the Olympics? How many Simone Biles are there? You can see the choice is up to us. We play the games of life. In a sense, we have no choice there. But as we play these games, we can decide how intensely we choose to play them. Right? As we play the physical games, the mental games, the emotional games, and the religious games. So obviously, we are here playing the religious game, and specifically the Hindu religious game, and maybe even specifically the Saiva Hindu religious game. Remember, in Saivism, in Hinduism, there's basically three sampradayas: Saivite, Vaishnavite, and Shaktite. So we want to have a sacred harmony between the three, obviously. Harihara Ekarupa Gunashila. So, as Hindus, let's make an acronym out of game, and we'll look at Ganapati, Om, Mantra, and Ekadantaya. Ganapati, always first, foundational, and we know why. Om, first mantra. And then we chant our many mantras that help to calm the mind, Chittavrita Nirodha, so that we can perceive that which we always were, the Atmana. Remember, it's just covered up. That's why as Saiva Hindus we wear the Tripundra, the three stripes, to remind us on a daily basis to get rid of greed and anger and lust. And that uncovers that which was always there, the Atmana. So as we play this game, we want to do just that and not be lame. We don't want to let Om mantra evaporate. We don't want to let go of so much of the Dharma, which unfortunately we have done as Hindus. We're at fault. Yes, people have stolen from us, but how often did we stand up and protect it? And we often give it away. Look at today's massive spurious yoga movement. It's totally distorted and totally divorced from Hinduism, and many Hindus are joining in. It's amazing. What kind of game is that when you're in 200 hours you could become a professional, authoritative yoga teacher? How many hours do you think it takes to become a professional at any of the sports of life, to become a math professor, the intellectual games, right? To become a refined, qualified dancer of the many art forms. It takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, tens of thousands of hours. 200 hours? Come on, folks. So we're playing the Hindu game. And today what we're going to do with our theme, Step Up to the Plate, we're going to look at America's game of baseball. Many of you know it, but we did a little diagram here. So first of all, you notice that it's played on a diamond, right? And every game of life has its rules, its regulations, its rituals, and the field that it's played on, so to speak. For example, when you play the intellectual games, the field are your universities and colleges. When you play football, you have a certain, field that's 100 yards long. When you play baseball, it's a diamond. And this is interesting. The analogy that we use with a diamond. We often use the analogy of the diamond like the Atmana at the bottom, or like the Atmana within us, and the diamond at the bottom of a river. Now, as long as that river is calm and clear, we can clearly see the gem. We have a whole podcast on gem, gravity, electricity, magnetism. That's how we understand our sampradayas. Gravity, electricity, magnetism, nuclear, Ganapati, Muruga, Shiva Shakti. If you go back over those, you'll get an in-depth understanding of what we mean there, bringing the sampradayas together. So the gem is clearly seen at the bottom of the clear river. But as soon as the waters get dirty or muddied up, polluted, if you will, even though the gem is still there, you just can't see it. This is a beautiful analogy for the Atmana within all of us. That when we're covered with the clouds that can actually cover the sun, can't they? As powerful as the sun is. The clouds of greed and anger and lust, excessive desire for anything. It covers up that which is always there. We just need to uncover them. That's why Saiva Hindus wear the Tripundra, to remind us all on a daily basis. Because we all get greedy, we all get angry, we all get lusty. That's understanding that we're all in this together. But there's another understanding of the diamond. How do you get, they're making them in the labs now, but they're not worth as much, are they? But how do you get a real diamond? It takes eons of time of pressure. Right? It starts as a lump of coal, and through time and pressure, tapa sadhana, it's refined into the precious. That's why they're so costly, precious diamond. So this game of baseball is played on a diamond. And let's look at the word baseball. Base is a foundation. In life, the way to really get ahead is to have a good primal foundation, right? Take a lot of time with your fundamentals, your principles, your foundation. Right? And every athlete knows that. You spend a lot of time on your fundamentals, practice, batting practice, for example. Dosadrista mahorbahuha, Saiva Hindu Guru Patanjali. See your defects again and again and again. Practice, 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 practice makes perfect, right? So, we step up to the plate. So we have, in the game of baseball, you have the home plate, and then you have first base, you have second base, you have third base, and between first and second base stands the second baseman. Between second base and third base stands the shortstop. And you have home plate. You have the pitcher in the middle. Behind the batter, you have the catcher of the opposing team. And then behind the catcher, you have the one who's controlling the whole game, actually, the umpire. Now you have the opposing team and your team in the dugouts. And then you have the fans behind you. So there's always fans. There's always those who maybe can't play the game or maybe have played it before or maybe are just vicariously living through others. But then there's others who really play the game and step up to the plate. It takes everybody, right? Everybody has their time and place in the many games of life. So let's liken this to our Hindu yoga dharma. So we step up to home plate, Om, primal sound. And we have done a lot of batting practice. We pick up our bat. And so, B-A-T, bat, Brahman, Atma, Turiya. This is our goal, isn't it, as Hindus? To yoke Yuj to our Atmana, then Brahman, then on into the Absolute, Turiya, B-A-T. Actually, that's the meaning of the Sanskrit Hindu word yoga. To Yuj Atman Brahman Cha, to yoke to your Atmana and Brahman. And then we go into Turiya, the Absolute, B-A-T, bat. So we become firm in life, that's the bat. And bat backwards is tap. So we want to be lovingly firm. There's a softness to life and a firmness to life. That's a good balance. Lovingly firm. We often repeat this. So you step up to the home plate, right? And you've done your batting practice. In other words, you're a Batman. And the more you practice, you become a superhero. You become a Batman. And look at that word. B, Atman. Batman. And as you stand there, the opposing team, the catcher, he's going to try to harass you. Excuse me. And behind that's the guru. So you can look at the guru sending the catcher there of tapas and sadhana to try to throw you off balance, to see how focused you are. That's the guru's role, is to try to throw you off balance and see what you do. Whether you run away, or whether, like Ganesha, when he got his head chopped off, he didn't denounce his guru, his father. He actually later worshipped his feet and went around, he and Parvati Ma, to show that they were the whole world. This is what you must do in the intense relationship. Because the disciple, the chela, the shishya, will not often understand the tapas that the guru is giving them, but it's to see if they're going to run away, if they're going to hate the guru perhaps, criticize the guru, or figure out there's a greater lesson involved. Okay, so now we're up to the plate. And the pitcher throws the ball, and life is circular. Remember, Hindus, you're not monotheist, even though we do have some extremists. We're polymorphic. Life is circular. It's not linear. Come on. There's a linear nature to it, of course. That's the binary system. 0 and 1 is closer to reality, hence the Sanskrit Tamil Hindu neutral term Brahman for the Big Bang, you see. Remember, we don't worship God. That's a one male creator being. So we hit the ball, hopefully, or we strike out. Think about this. As far as today's yoga goes, if it's not Hindu, taught in a Hindu context and for a fee, you're striking out. Because real yoga is all about Hindu dharma, taught by Hindus and not for a fee. So it's up to us. 3 strikes and you're out. Or you hit the ball and you run to first base. That's karma yoga. That's your right ear. So if you look at home plate as your mouth, you exhale, pranayama, and you run to first base, karma yoga. You run to second base, that's the bindi. That's bhakti yoga. You run to third base. That's Raja Yoga, your left ear. And then back to home plate, your mouth again. And you have hit a home run. Now notice in baseball, between first and second base stands the second baseman. So that's analogous here to your harmonization of your left brain. And between the second baseman and the third baseman is the shortstop. That's the Pingala, the Ida and the Pingala. I'm looking at it. It comes out backwards when I look in the camera here. So remember, your right eye goes to your left brain. So that's your Pingala. Your left eye goes to your right brain. That's your Ida. So Pingala's male, Ida's female. As we, like Ardhanarishvara, Shiva Shakti, we harmonize the male and female within all of us. That's our dual nature that we have in our mind. Our masculine nature and our feminine nature. Remember, outwardly there's only two genders. Stop this silly nonsense, this non-binary. The non-binary is on the inside. When you harmonize the left and the right brain, understand your masculine and feminine traits that we all have, both positive and negative. We can't go into depth in that here, but listen to some of our other podcasts where we go more into depth into your Pingala and your Ida, your masculine and your feminine natures and brains, respectively. So, and here we have in the outfield, if you're a Saiva Hindu, you have Ganesha, and you have Muruga, and you have Shiva Shakti. And then the goal is to hit it out of the park, right? Moksha, freedom, Kaivalya, liberation. So now, remember, as you stepped up to the plate, you were harassed by the catcher of the opposing team, and maybe the opposing team in the dugout is harassing you. And let's look at that for a moment. We have an analogy there, or an acronym, DUG. Please avoid these delusional universal gurus. Anybody that tells you that Hinduism is universal or yoga is universal, that's a fundamentalist universal extremism. Remember, it's for everybody that wants it, but it's not for everybody. All right? So throw the dug outs out of your life. So remember, when people say yoga is for everybody, that's as fundamentalist as saying Jesus is for everybody. It's not that it's not available for anybody who wants it, but it's not for everybody. You get the difference here? So now let's play this game of baseball. Take it upon yourself, right? So your pitcher is the nose. You are at home plate here. That's your mouth. And your right ear, which I guess would be over here on you. Just imagine this is your face. So touch your nose, that's your pitcher. Your mouth, touch your right ear. And that's Karma Yoga. Your bindi, that's Bhakti Yoga. Your left ear is Raja Yoga, home run. Karma, Bhakti, Raja, Jnana. This is the way to Nirvana. Chariya Kariya Yoga Jnanam. This is the same as we just told you. Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana Samadhi. How many times do we have to tell the world all of yoga is Sanatana Dharma? This is Hinduism. Watch your Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, Jnana Kanda. Beautifully succinct in the Vedas. Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, Jnana Kanda, which is now our classic yogas of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga. And remember, of all those Hindu yogas, the only one, learn to play the game, learn the rules. The only one the Rishi said, don't display this one, is Hatha Yoga, the one that's out there today under the guise of simply the word yoga. Why? Because it deals with the physical body, and the Rishis knew, duh. You give people who have little introspection, little depth, something physical, and what are they going to do? They're going to create hot yoga and power yoga and doggy yoga, laughter yoga, nude yoga, goat yoga, beer yoga, Ted's yoga, cannabis yoga, Kino's yoga, Adrian's yoga. Come on, folks. Oof, creepy. Remember, making yoga just a physical exercise or a vague spirituality is as insulting to Hindus, devout Hindus, some don't take it serious enough, as it is for Christians if you were to have a class in baptism, underwater therapy, or communion, wine tasting. How insulting to the Christians. So, we want to take a breath, throw the ball, the pitch, hit the ball. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga. And on the way, you've harmonized remember, you're looking at your own face, the Pingala, the left brain, and the Idda, the right brain, masculine and feminine nature. And you hit the ball out of the park. That's the imagery of Shiva. Let's see, can you see him over here? With Gangama coming out of the top of his head. That's the Kundalini. Kundalini is the outcome. It's not really taught, it's the outcome. It's the result of living the classical yoga, Hindu, religious, spiritual, scientific, philosophical lifestyle. It's all those things. So Hindus, we want to step up to the plate. Dun, 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 dun. Like Mahaganapati, Balaganapati. So this is supposed to be his trunk as the bat. Right? So remember the symbolism here of Ganesha's trunk. It's strong, it's flexible, and it's sensitive. This is the bat that you want to hold, right? You want to be strong physically, mentally, emotionally, as best you can. But you also want to be flexible physically, mentally, emotionally. And you also want to be sensitive physically, mentally, emotionally. Then you have hit the ball out of the park. Kaivalya, liberation. The wisdom of Mahaganapati's Vilambita Sutra, his snake-like trunk. Because think of the opposite. If we're not strong, if we're inflexible, and if we're insensitive, we won't feel good about ourselves, and others are not going to feel too good around us, right? And often his Vilambita Sutra, his trunk, goes to the Laddu, reminding us that life is sweet if you're strong, flexible, and sensitive. And if you're weak, inflexible, insensitive, life is sour for you and for those around you. So these are some of our thoughts. This is a major theme for our ashram for the year, as we always get one. But hopefully you find your themes too. This is the beauty of the ongoing wisdom of the symbolism as you interpret it in your life and see what it means to you. So be proud to be a Hindu. Respect the other religions of the world, but you're not Christians, you're not Muslims, you're not Jews. Maybe some of you watching are, okay, and, blessings to you. Follow your path and respect others. But for my fellow Hindu brothers and sisters, respect that you're a Hindu. Say to yourself, as the ancient rishis did, Puram Bindu Vajri Purushtuttaha. They called themselves not only Hindus, and it's in the Vedas, please. Hindu Samudra Diyartivayubhir. And Puram Bindu Vajri Purushtuttaha. Ancient soulful Bindu Hindu warrior. Be an ancient soulful warrior. Be a contemporary soulful warrior here. That's what Muruga is all about up here. Whether it's Muruga or Krishna or Hanuman or Durgama and the other sampradayas, it's about their heart chakra deities, right? It's about becoming a youthful, loving warrior. All three. Got to be all three. You don't want to be a warrior without love, then you just become a brute. And you can't just be so loving without being able to stand up for yourself. That's the wisdom, again, of Balaganapati, standing up for the Dharma. Stand up for principles. And love your guru, even when your guru disciplines you. And, you've all first incorporated rationality and logic into your life so that you don't let anybody really abuse you that has ulterior or nefarious motives in mind. So you want to keep your wits about you. You don't just want to obey blindly. We never advocate that, right? But once you understand that your guru is there to help you, right, you have to just do what they say. So love and blessings to everybody. Our time's almost up here on the video. So Om Bhurvu Vasvaha Taprashavidmehe Vakutundaya Dhimehe Tanodante Prachurayat. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Ganganapataye Namaha, Ganganapataye Namaha, Ganganapataye Namaha. Have a blessed Ganapati Shri Ganesha Chaturthi.